What's up, guys? Thanks so much for clicking on the video. My name is Leah, and let's recap and review Real Housewives of New York. This is season 14, episode 12. So let's get into it. All right, y'all. So y'all already know before we get into it, we gonna get a little spicy and talk about a few things that came across my timeline that I was a little interested in, okay? So first things up, our first spicy item is this page called RHONY Casting. It seems like they're casting for new housewives for season 15. This, for some reason, caused a lot of blog pages and even fans online to be like, oh, this is confirmation that the reboot didn't work and we shouldn't be rebooting, or we should. To me, it didn't make sense. A lot of things that people were saying didn't make sense to me, because I was like, even when we see shows that have their first season, oftentimes they do casting for the second season, or they give friends of the shows or other people on the show more prominent roles in the show. So I feel as though them casting for new housewives isn't that big of a deal. Maybe somebody's gonna get demoted, maybe 2 or 3 people, because in my opinion, Uba and even Jenna, to me, should be demoted. And we'll talk about why I think Jenna should be demoted with our next spicy thing. But they're still kind of giving me friend of energy, if I'm being honest. But I didn't think this was a big deal for people to be acting the way that I saw them acting underneath the screenshot of this post. So our next spicy thing is Miss Jenna Lyons. So Jenna was on this podcast called Shut Up, Evan. And I'm getting this from the Twitter page TV Deets. And it says, Jenna Lyons doesn't want hashtag RHONY to become her defining moment. And it goes on to say, what Jenna said, I don't want this to become my defining moment. And it's tricky because I had a career prior to this, a relatively large one. And I don't want this to become my calling card, she said on the Shut Up Evan podcast. At this time, I've become well aware that this is a very large and very visible and very passionate show. I actually can't believe how obsessed people are. So here's my thing. If you listen to my reviews at the beginning of the season, I kind of made a prediction, or maybe I said it in one of my reviews, but I feel like I said it, where I felt like Jenna was only going to be like maybe a 1 or 2 season housewife and then get off the show. And I feel like that's going to come true, because honestly, Jenna doesn't give what a lot of y'all hype her up to give, in my opinion. I'm not that fascinated or that wowed by her. At times, often when she speaks about the show, to me, she speaks of it as she's better than the show. And if we're gonna be honest, Jenna got the most coin on the show. Like she said, she has a large career. She's a lady in her 50s. She knows who she is and her worth. So I'm not saying that like, how dare she say she's better than Housewives, but it does, in my mind, make it a very huge contradiction for you to feel like you're better than something, but then join the show. To say people are obsessed, and yes, there are people who are zealots and very unhinged when it comes to Real Housewives or reality TV in general. But I'm thinking, you with this relatively large career, like you said, and having the money, I would think you would pay somebody to do research to see if you wanted to attach yourself to this. Because if I'm going to be honest, I didn't know who the hell Jenna Lyons was until she popped up on this show. And that for me is because I'm not somebody that wears J. Crew. I know what J. Crew is, but I'm not into fashion to that extent. So, getting to see who she is, I'm like, oh, okay, that's cool to me. Like that she's made a mark and all, and like her backstory and stuff like that. But to speak about the show in such a way where it's like, it's condescending. And I don't like that type of energy from people who, ma'am, you chose to be a part of this. No one forced your hand. You wanted to be a part of it. And you have the money and the access to the internet, like all of us, to actually do your research to see if this is something you want your name on. On top of that, I heard that Jenna's not even going to BravoCon. And I understand it's due to her anxiety. That's what a lot of people have said that she said. And as someone that has anxiety, that is something I understand. But my mindset would also be, I would not be a part of something that I could not handle. So I really do think this is going to be 2 seasons and then she out. I just saw her taking a picture with Usher. Like, Jenna about to leave after season 15. While we're talking about obsessed fans, let's talk about Miss Psy. So someone posted this screenshot on Twitter of Psy's Insta story where she said, "Reading my DMs today, like a laughing emoji. Y'all are wild. Thanks for the laughs." Psy is trying really hard to act like she's unbothered, but truthfully, I think this is bothering her. And because I feel like you wouldn't make a post about it if it wasn't really bothering you. There's plenty of things where people have done things or said things, even on my YouTube channel, where I don't respond to it or I delete it and I keep it pushing. Because at the end of the day, this is my channel. If I don't want it on my channel, I don't want it on my channel. But I'm not going to make a statement about it unless it's something that really pisses me off. So I feel like she is bothered. I don't think it's right when people DM housewives, send threats to housewives, do all that extra stuff, because at the end of the day, these still are people. And if you don't have the balls or the guts or if you don't have that type of energy in real life, then I feel like you're weak as hell for having it behind a keyboard and you 9 states away from somebody. Just say your comments about the show and keep it pushing. You don't got to at somebody. You don't got to be in their DMs. Y'all take it to a whole nother level. And then you wonder why when the housewives start cutting y'all down and their mouths are sharp as hell towards you. It's like, oh my gosh, how dare you? Well, girl, she done got cussed out 3 times for just saying good morning. She ready for blood, and you was just the one that caught it. So choose better timing, or just leave somebody alone. Just leave somebody alone. So the last thing we're going to talk about, y'all, is these reunion looks. And if you listen to my Real Housewives of Orange County review, I said I was underwhelmed, and I was. So let's talk about these reunion looks. So first up is Brynn. I don't know where Brynn is going other than a funeral. Cause why did it look like she got into a fight with a doily and she headed into a funeral in the antebellum South in 1867. Is that when the antebellum South happened? Either way, it looks like she traveled back in time and it's not giving. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. Then we got Erin. Erin got on a dress that she going to the club after this. And not even she just going out to eat with her husband, Abraham Lincoln. This outfit is basic as hell, and I don't like it either. Then you got Jenna. Jenna pissed me off. And you know why she pissed me off? Because I was expecting something. And I get it, jeans are supposed to be her signature, but we've seen Jenna in jeans several times, y'all. And we saw her in jeans when they had the premiere party, I think, for New York. I just you could have gave us something. I would have been okay with this outfit had she worn slacks. If you're gonna wear a blazer and a see-through top with a bow tie or what's it called, a tie, then go all the way with it. The jeans, I was like, girl, you going into the office, because you can't tell me Jenna don't wear this to work. I don't like it. I'm underwhelmed. And all of y'all talking about, well, Jenna's being edgy. She's pushing the envelope. Well, you know what? I don't want the envelope pushed. Okay? Give me the drama. Then we got Jessel. I think Jessel's outfit is cute, but it's plain. And I'm not wowed. I'm like, okay, cute. And then Psy. I think Psy looks the best. I like the outfit, but I'm still underwhelmed. I wish maybe if she would have did something more with her hair other than that slick back. Because why does her hair look stiff in the back? Girl, no. The dress is pretty. And then Uba. I like Uba's dress, but Uba, I don't... I told you I was disappointed. I just expected more from them because they're from New York. They're supposed to be giving us fashion. You have a supermodel who's Uba. Jessel, I think, works in she PR for the fashion industry. And then you have Brynn, who's a PR consultant. Jenna Lyons. It's and you got Psy, who's supposed to be this fashion blogger. And I'm not wowed. I am not wowed. Why are the Orange County girls kind of outdoing y'all? And that is tragic because they can't never get it right. They can never get it right. I don't like it. Y'all better do better next season. Please do better next season. Please. Let's get into this review. So y'all, I'm gonna go one by one. I'm just gonna let y'all know this. I'm ready for Roni to be over, mainly because I just saw the trailer for Beverly Hills, and I'm take me to Beverly Hills. I'm ready. October the 25th, here I come. But I think I'm gonna go person by person. So first up, let's talk about, we could just get Jenna and Bryn out the way. So it looks like they went out hanging out together. And it's kind of crazy because Bryn had all this heat for Jenna, but now they hanging out together. But Bryn was like, "Oh, let me be your wing woman." So they're at like a lesbian bar or a gay bar, and Bryn's a good wing woman. We know she is. She knows how to work her femininity and her sultriness to her advantage. And I guess Bryn is either like bisexual, because she was like, love is love. Like, I want to make out with a woman. So I guess that's what she is. So I was like, okay, cool. They had a good time. We then have this scene of Bryn where she's on the phone with her brother, and it's like the next day, and they're I think she was like a bookstore or the library, and she's sitting down, and her brother calls, and they're on FaceTime, and he's like, "Oh, it's your birthday's coming up," and we know her brother is teaching English overseas in Korea. He's like, "It's your birthday coming up, like, what are you planning to do?" And she lets him know that like she spoke to somebody in Central Park. So basically, they're going to plant the grandmother's ashes, I guess, and put a plaque on the tree to show like that is where her remains, or the tree is in remembrance of her. And Bryn gets emotional. She's in the confessional talking about how like her grandma was the best. Like, she gave her best, and like at times it might not have been enough, but it was the best she gave, and Bryn was totally appreciative of it. And she just talked about how her grandma is the reason why she is the way she is, and why she has her confidence and all of that stuff. And I felt sad as someone who recently lost a grandparent. It hurt. It hurts. You just be crying randomly for no reason. But you just it makes you realize like how valuable grandparents are, especially the good ones. I know there's crappy ones out there, but the good ones are worth everything. But it also made me feel sad for Bryn in the way of like, maybe her grandmother made her feel seen, and we know with her upbringing she probably didn't feel worthy or seen, and to lose the person that makes you feel that way, that's hard. And as I've gotten older, I started to realize that there's a lot of people like out here in this world who don't feel seen, and they act out in various ways. Sometimes it's positive, sometimes, and a lot of times it's very negative. And I feel as though that's probably what Bryn is looking for, someone that makes her feel the way her grandma made her feel or more. And, when you lose that person that makes you feel that way, no matter if it is a grandparent or a parent or an aunt or an uncle or a friend or a cousin or even a significant other, you feel like lost. And I saw like this really wholesome tweet that like really drove that home for me, where I guess one of a Twitter user was asking like, hey, like people in relationships, like, do you feel like you had to edit your personality, or do you feel that you were able to lean into who you are? And this woman retweeted, and she was like, yes, like I've been able to lean into who I am even more with the person that I'm with. And it has let me know that all parts of me are lovable, even the weird parts. And I was just like, wow, there are people out there who hide parts of themselves because they feel like they won't be valued in a certain way. And they also feel like no one sees them. So hopefully she meets somebody who makes her feel that way, who makes her wholeheartedly feel like she could be herself and she can lean into it, and she won't be ostracized or pushed away. So Jessel and Pavit finally did the do. So kudos to them. I still think it's weird that man going to Vietnam to get a sandwich. What is you really going over there to Pavit for? But I guess I can't think it's completely weird because we saw Nicole and Anthony from Real Housewives of Miami fly to Louisiana just to go get some sandwiches, like just to get brunch and come back. So I don't know, is you really flying? He might really be flying to Vietnam for a sandwich, y'all. But who knows? Um, Honestly, I'm happy they were able to be like intimate with each other. Like, I think people forget how much your body goes through when women do IVF. It's like the hormones mess you up. Then remember, she had a C-section. She gained weight. Jessel probably just wasn't feeling comfortable in her body. She probably was feeling out of her body, like her body wasn't hers. But you could tell that she lost a few pounds and that she's feeling probably more confident. So it probably opened her up to be like, let's do it. And Prophet seemed to be happy. And Jessel's body looked great. Looked really great. So then we have this double date that was so lame. So it's Aaron and Abe and then Sai and her husband. And they're sitting down. And Jessel is the topic of conversation. Jessel and her sexless marriage. And I just feel like, yes, these are things couples talk about, but I don't think I would dedicate so much time to talking about Jessel if Jessel is supposed to be so forgettable the way they act that she's supposed to be. And Aaron, trying to be shady, got egg on her face when she asked the men at the table, like, if you didn't have sex with your wife for a year and a half, what would you do? Abe did not hesitate. He said, oh, I'd be banging somebody else. And Aaron was like, Abe. And I was like, girl, that man probably is banging someone else. You know, it's crazy how in the beginning I thought they had such a like wholesome and sweet relationship when he gifted her that ring before their anniversary party to like this interaction. I was like, oh, Abe be out in the Abe gives he be in these streets. That's why Aaron be trying to keep up and be like, yeah, we be having sex all the time. I was like, yeah, Abe be in these streets. Probably done mess with a few of them nannies. And Aaron was like, but Abe, what if I was going through something? And he really didn't clean it up. And then Sai's husband, his response wasn't any better, where he was just like, I would think at that time our marriage would be over. And I'm just kind of like, is your marriage just based off of sex? Like, there probably have been times where people have been in marriages where it's like they just weren't that way with each other. Sometimes you just don't want to do it. And you just don't like, I'm just not in the mood. Maybe you ain't feeling it. But I was just like, y'all both look stupid. Y'all both look stupid. So then they start talking about how in Anguilla, they were playing like this texting game where Bryn took, what's her name? Jessel's phone, and she was pretending to be Jessel, being like, I'm wet. And Pavis sent back, well, you should probably get a towel and clean off. And everyone was laughing at the table. They were laughing at the table. And then I guess the topic of conversation of like threesomes came up. And it just shows how much of a frat bro Abe is. It's like, ugh. Where he pretty much was like, he would be down to do a threesome, but it had to be with another girl because he wouldn't want to do it with another man because like that's too much dick in one room. And I'm just like, well, why would you assume that she would just want to do it with another woman? Why wouldn't you think she would want to do it with a man? I think it's so stupid when men forget that a threesome is three people, whether that person is a man, a woman, somebody that's trans or non-binary. Either way, it's three people. Y'all miraculously forget that and just expect your girl to just be like, yeah, I'm cool with another one. What she don't want to lick on Cootie Cat? So then we get this scene of them once again trying to bond through trauma where Uba decides to be like, hey, let's do a sound bath. And Bryn can't come because she got sick with, the vid. And so they're doing it. Uba gets emotional because she's thinking about her mom. And we know her mom recently or like a couple of years passed away and it's been hard for her. Before they do it, the lady asks them to all set their intentions. Jessel says she wants to be grounded. Jenna says she wants to like be less defensive. And I think the other three said something about being more present. While the lady's doing like the beating of the drums and all of that stuff and going to each girl telling them like, talk to your inner child, accept the, all of that stuff. Sai is talking about how she don't need healing. She don't really need this. She was like, I don't need to travel to my childhood, which lets you know that like to a certain extent, her childhood is jacked up. It's messed up. And we know it's messed up because of what she shared. But it was just like, if you weren't going to be present or be there in the moment, then you probably shouldn't have came if you thought it was silly and stupid. But you can tell that that's a defense mechanism for Sai to always say, I don't care, this is stupid, is because she's afraid that if she probably opens the door to her emotions, she might not be able to control them or get them back in. So while they're there, Jessel asks Sai, like, hey, can we go out to lunch? I would really like to talk to you and move forward from the situation that we had in Anguilla. They meet up at the restaurant. Sai gets there first. First off, Sai, I think, showed up at I think it was like 11:20. So her being mad that she was like, Jessel made her wait for 45 minutes is a lie. Jessel only made her wait for 20 minutes. Mind you, waiting on people is irritating and aggravating. But Jessel was talking about how, like, when she finally got there, because I think she showed up at like 11:41, she apologized and she was just like, girl, I was stuck in my car for 45 minutes. And then Sai was like, well, why would you pick this restaurant? Like, normally there's nobody here really on the weekends or like stuff like that. And Jessel was like, I thought it was the weekends. Like, girl, my weekends start on Friday. So I don't know what you're doing, but that's how my world works. So then Jessel was like, oh, okay, like, my bad. Like, I didn't mean to keep you waiting. I picked this because it was closer to you. I didn't think traffic would be that bad. So they're sitting down and Jessel's pretty much trying to apologize. And she did apologize to Sai. She said, like, when we were in Anguilla and I was sharing my story, I didn't mean to make it seem like I was trying to compare myself to you or compare stories. I didn't want to offend. If I offended you in that way, my bad. Sai's eating, and then she immediately goes, you know what, Jessel, I don't care. Goes and she's like, well, why are you saying that? Like, I'm trying to apologize to you. Sai somewhat apologizes to her and being like, we don't mean to like pick your story apart, but we want to get to know you and we feel like you're not being yourself. And Jessel ends up telling her, and she gets emotional where she says, like, she was like, in my family, we didn't talk about it ourselves. And then Sai's like, yeah, because you go from point A and then you're like circling. And she was like, and maybe that's why I talk in circles, is because in my family, we don't do that. Like, that's not what we did. That's not what we do. Like, we don't really talk about each other. And I'm like, y'all give Jenna space to like be awkward and kind of like off. Y'all should be able to give Jessel the same if she's telling y'all like, yeah, like, we didn't talk about each other. Like, we don't talk. Like, so it's kind of hard for me to be expressive. And then Jessel ends up saying, like, your story about your mom, it kind of triggered me because my uncle was an alcoholic. And I know it's not the same, but it brought back those memories. And I guess that offended Sai. So Sai's in her confessional being like, you're comparing apples to oranges, Jessel. It's not the same. Like, how did we get here? So Sai doesn't even finish her food. She just gets up. She was like, oh, I need to pay. And Jessel's like, no, girl, I got it. And she leaves. And it's like, they don't want to get to know Jessel. They have issues with Jessel. I don't know how. I don't know what she did. But it's just like, no matter what she says, even when Sai asked her, like, did you and Pavid have sex? And Jessel's like, yeah, we did. And Sai's in her confession, like, I don't believe her. Like, she's not being very detailed. Why would she be detailed with you? You're not her friend. Like, y'all are not good girlfriends. Y'all are not kikiing and laughing. Like, every time, and she even says, like, every time I tell y'all something, Jessel's like, every time I tell you something, you and Aaron pick it apart like vultures. And it is very mean-spirited and it's nasty because it's like she hasn't really done anything for y'all to be coming at her like that. And what it seems like is like y'all wanted somebody to like push out, like y'all wanted to push somebody to the side because y'all thought y'all clique of 5 was good enough. But the issue is like people like Jessel because for the most part, it seems like Jessel is being herself. And even if Jessel is playing a character, the character she's playing is way better than your personality and Aaron's. And you can really tell, and I keep saying that Sai thought she was going to be in charge of the girls because the way she sat at that table and then the preview for next episode where her and Jessel get into it and she's like, I'm done. And she gets pissed off and you got Uba and Aaron cackling like hags over there while you clearly see this girl there, like she's uncomfortable and she's saying y'all are being mean girls and being mean-spirited. Like, it comes off like y'all want an issue with her and there doesn't seem to be an issue. Like, shout out to Alex Saltier TV. He even said, he was like, if Jessel were to have a sex tape of her and her husband and present it to Sai probably would not believe it. Because y'all don't want to believe her. Y'all don't want to get to know her. Like, y'all just don't. And I don't even think what she did about bringing up the uncle was disrespectful. I think she was just trying to be like, hey, I can somewhat understand. It may not be on the same level, but I can understand what it's like to be around somebody who's battling alcoholism. And instead of side taking that, she just wanted to be a asshole and just be like, I'm done with this conversation. Well, we done with you. But yeah, y'all, that is it. That is all. Remember to be bravely authentic and hop down in them comments below. Deuces.